a lot of people in the audience today. Thank you so much for joining us in this panel. And since we're a bit late, we're gonna try to be as time efficient as possible. First of all, thank you everyone for joining our panel. I think I'm just gonna move a bit like this so I can see you better. You all are like cuddled up together there. Let's go a bit through the key metrics of NFT gaming before we start. First of all, during 2022, 21% of Web3 investments were in gaming, approximately 8 billion. 5.7% of all dApps are games, while 52% of all unique active wallets on Ethereum are connected to games. So there is a huge possibility of increase and development in this field. Therefore, today I'm going to ask you some questions about the main metrics, differences between other types of industries and how Web3 gaming is influencing us. So, the first question. What is the key difference between a metaverse game and a casual Web3 game platform in terms of Web3 models? And I think I'm going to start with Daniel.
Hi, good morning everyone. I hope you can all pronounce WEM. Metaverse and casual gaming are not the same thing. In my point of view, I'm old. First of all, I'm old. What you call metaverse, I call Counter-Strike, I call World of Warcraft, I call, I don't know, all the games that have an open world where people can join and have fun together. So from that perspective, that is a metaverse. Now, it's a spin that the crypto industry added to add more hype. I'm all against hype, I'm just so you guys know, because it doesn't bring any substance and value. The difference with casual games is that everybody's a gamer. Even people who don't recognize that they play in their spare time. WEM is in the space of casual and hyper-casual games, which is actually games that you play for 5 minutes, when you're on a toilet, when you're commuting, when you're checking your Bitcoin price, and it has a very low learning curve. The difference is that you use an app. The premise of Metaverse is that you put on your goggles or you put on a device and you enter a space where you can do lots of stuff that you would do at a conference. So in this respect, the experience and what you're actually getting is very different. My take on this is games have a simple purpose: to have fun and to connect with other people. The metaverse has a different sell point, and that is connecting people digitally. I'm just saying Skype does the same thing in a new environment.
Any other thoughts, Arvin?
Yeah, I guess I go next. So, I mean, just to go off what the other panelist was saying also. So, what's really, I guess, distinct about metaverse is that, you know, it's a new spin to it. So, right, you know, there's a conversation about the hype, and you know, with the VR. So a lot of people don't even know the difference between, let's say, simulation and, let's say, VR, AR, and metaverse. And so, what really excites a lot of people in the metaverse is actually what they're thinking, what they could do in like VR, for example. And so, it's really important to get to the, you know, the actual reasons behind why we're so excited about the metaverse. But what's really special about the technology right now is, you know, the obviously the social aspect that was mentioned, but also the creation of the, I guess, the environment, which is a lot more, let's say, expansive than what we used to inside the games, right? So the richness of the game inside the metaverse is very different to what we're used to with the games. So I actually played Counter-Strike and all those games as well myself, and it's let's say they're more limited now. You know, with the use of AI coming into the place as well, there's a lot more that can be done. There's the direction of the game, where it's going, and how that can change as a player is actually playing the game. And then also, I think the other side of things to think about is you know, what's the struggle right now is that the metaverse and its users, right? So a lot of people excited about actually launching their metaverses, but then on the other side, they're not so sure about if they're going to be able to have enough users for people not only just have fun, but also just the experience to be what they're actually describing it to be.
Yeah, so it always depends to whom you are addressing the question. From my perspective, there is no difference. Because in my understanding, the metaverse is basically any type of project that keeps the assets on the blockchain. So this is according to my understanding. Obviously, when Zuckerberg came and rebranded Facebook to Meta, then the things became a little bit more complex. But I've seen in the past several examples which were referred as metaverse apps. One of them, for example, being a 2D game that people play on the computer from X Infinity. This is called a metaverse. Doesn't fit so well with the Facebook vision about the metaverse. And a very cool example I've seen was a book author. So she created a book and she thought, okay, this might look very close in the future to the Lord of the Rings. And what I'm bringing new to create a metaverse, I'm tokenizing all the characters in the book. So the NFT token holders, the owners of the characters, will be able to decide the future of the story and also be part of the project on long run. Okay, so she created a metaverse which is on a physical book. Okay, it's not a 3D game, it's not a 2D game on the phone, it's a book. Only the assets are tradable on blockchain and hosted on blockchain and tradable on Web3-like platforms. So again, metaverse is something that has a definition under construction, but and it's very clear and very normal that different persons will have different vision about it. For example, at Ludo, we are calling us the Google of the Web3 space of the Google of the metaverse, because again, in our opinion, the metaverse should be a Web3 metaverse, not something else. So, yeah, this is, in my opinion, again, there is no difference.
Yes. Gaston?
You know what? I think I'm gonna ask the audience to give the answer here. So we are like 150, 200 people, also the fine gentleman in the back. I wanna ask you a favor. Who has played a casual game here in this room? Please raise your hands. Thank you. Now, who has played a metaverse game here in the room? Please raise your hands. Now, who owns a VR? There's your answer. So what's happening now? The technology is not there. The equipment is not there. Can, I don't know, people from Latin America or from Southeast Asia, from India, can they play metaverse games? The adoption is not there. So until that technology evolves and more people have more money to buy VR, then we can talk. This is my answer.
And as a follow-up, speaking exactly of accessibility and the way we can interact with these platforms, there's a widespread opinion that younger gamers are familiar with cryptocurrencies, especially Gen Z. Even if this opinion is very popular, most of them find it difficult to own a wallet and interact with a dApp, shows a study made by Hall of Game in Croatia this year. What advice do you have for game developers to ease their users' onboarding, flatten the learning curve, and simplify their experience when they are first entering Web3 and starting to interact with the concept of ownership, in-game assets, maybe asset-based access, etc.?
So please allow me to start with this. There are already platforms being built right now, similar to Steam, for example, which are solving already this problem for any game willing to be listed with them. And in the same time, the game creators, my advice is most of them to transform their apps, their games into wallets too. In such a way that, okay, they are becoming custodian, we are somewhere in the middle between Web2 and Web3, but basically from a user interaction perspective, they will give a pretty similar experience with the traditional game. So You just download the game, click a button, you already have the wallet and everything inside. So if you decide to send these assets on to access this wallet, to access the assets with another wallet, it's your decision. But this should be the easiest way to do it. And right now it's not so difficult anymore.
Yeah, I guess just to add on that. So obviously, it's important that people, there's a lot of conversations about we want to have blockchain games, and then the gamers thinking about, well, we don't care about really about the blockchain, we don't care about the NFT, we just want a fun game. And then there are founders out there that all they're talking about when they have the game is just about the NFT. Like, so you have the NFT, and then in the future you're gonna be able to play this game that doesn't even exist yet. So there's a lot of problems with that. But when it comes to the adoption of the games that are already existing, so not the ones that they haven't been even produced, then what I found is I actually have this game that I'm just working on with right now. So we actually built it on, we didn't build the game on the XRP, but we actually, we started it on the XRP chain, which is, if you guys know, there are not a lot of collections on the XRP chain. Even the volume is not as much. And then we just wanted to see like what it's like to just be on one of the very first games on that chain. There's this thing called a ZOM wallet, for example, right? So it's very difficult for people to actually to be able to, it just takes time. It's not just like the MetaMask wallet like a lot of people used to. So I say that because it makes a difference on education, and then education side of things for the founders to be able to actually get users to understand how to use it and then use it. And then the other side of things is just a multi-chain approach. So it's not just one specific chain. Actually, the game the game NFTs can be on lots of different chains. So people who are used to specific different wallets, they can still use it. And then ultimately, it's just those platforms that just gonna make it even seamless. So you don't even feel like you connect into your wallet and just like the typical experience of the let's say us just in the Web3 that we have of the of our wallets and just getting into it. And even the simplest one, a lot of people talk about, let's say MetaMask is just being a very simple one. Still, for a Web2 person that is not very motivated to learn these things, it's just not as simple. And so we're like an echo chamber, right? So we just talk to our friends. We think everyone's like us, but then like 5% of the people know about cryptocurrencies. And then we'll just get on Twitter spaces, we get on conferences, talk with each other, and thinking like everyone's like us. But it's not the case. So ultimately, it has to get very simple, and then the conversation also has to shift from the wallets and like NFTs, all that, to just people just having the NFTs, using the NFTs without even knowing, right? So that's the direction it should actually get to.
Alex?
Well, so I have a different approach, and your question is very good. So the Web3 gaming industry, the projects out there are struggling. Let's talk about that. It's very hard to compete with other projects at the moment because the slice of the pizza is getting thinner and thinner by a quarter. Basically, all of these Web3 projects are fighting themselves off for the same audience. Based on your analysis and metrics that you provided, you are absolutely correct. But let's say top 10 game projects in Web3, all of those wallets, they're connected with top 10 projects. So basically, the users are going and identifying the best project for them at that particular moment, or just they want to just try it out. I said it in the past, and I'll say it again, the next bull run will be provided not by us, but by the non-crypto users. So we're obsolete. We need to identify ways to grab the non-crypto audience. Therefore, we have to come up with a better idea in the gaming world, as well as you said, funnels and ways on how to make life easier for the non-crypto user. To give you an exact and straight answer, there are some technologies out there that create a wallet just with Google login. It's called Face, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, it's going to be a challenge for developers to, let's say, make life easier for the non-crypto users. And as more as you work, more non-crypto users, I strongly believe that they will be better than the crypto users because they will become more or less holders in the project. So whoever knows the recipe is going to have a great deal of success, and of course, the idea behind it needs to be good.
Daniel, any thoughts on the matter?
Some of them are like my previous speakers. Technology, for the sake of technology, is not fun. The purpose of games is to have fun and not to worry about the technology itself. It's exactly like the light switch. You don't care about the current that goes into the wall. You need to flip it on, lights come on, flip it off, it's dark. It should be the same with technology because users come to play. Now, in terms of the slice getting smaller, I don't agree. In the following perspective, crypto gaming will become gaming the same way email became mail. We're now just talking about ways of improving the user experience and going on. Sometimes old is good. You're recording this, I'm sorry. It will go forever on the internet. I'm not used to this. But sometimes old is good. Why I'm saying this? A lot of Gen Zs grew up with apps that educate them in a certain way, of the user experience, how they access it. And one of the ways to find, I would say, success is to just replicate the stuff that works in terms of user experience. Then it's the job of the developer, of the project, to make technology invisible to the user. The user is not there because they love blockchain. The user in games, for instance, on RAM is because they want to compete and earn something and flip somebody off at points. I do that with my wife. So people are there to have fun. People are don't care about the technology, and the next wave of adoption. This is what we know. There are people that believe in their visions. We know for a fact that this will happen because these are technological cycles that happened before. I've been doing this for the past 15 years. And that is games. And I've seen it flash in 5 and mobile games and a lot of Facebook games. It's always the same thing when you get the aha moment. And there are the platforms that come to the user and say, okay, you can use this platform. It brings you these extra benefits. Oh yeah, you can also own the tokens that you see, or the cards that you see. They are called NFTs. You can own them, you can trade them. But the purpose of games is to have fun, to make technology invisible, and this is how we get to that 1 billion users that we all love to talk about.
Speaking of having fun and enjoying the experience, as you know, last year was quite a big, last 2 years actually were quite big for a platform called Axie Infinity, which promoted the play-to-earn model. Unfortunately, as their token suffered from hyperinflation and its value dropped immensely, a lot of people who are actually earning a living based on the pay-to-earn model found themselves bankrupt or at risk in terms of their financial security. This happened especially in Southeast Asia. How do you think the pay-to-earn model should evolve to remain relevant and to avoid these types of user traps in which you basically play to earn a living and you don't play to have fun anymore?
Yeah. For this, the community has already found a solution. But to understand it better, we need to zoom out. We need to understand how the gaming industry changed in the past 20 years. 20 years ago, the kings in this industry were the game creators. They were deciding what they are creating, when they are creating, how they are publishing it, how they are selling licenses. Starting about 10 years ago, influencers and publishing platforms start having more and more power. They start driving audiences to the games. So this huge gaming sector industry start being driven by the influencers and by the publishing platforms. And since several years ago, a shift is happening in this industry. So creators first, influencers second, and now the players are taking the lead. How is this happening? There are already some several very notorious projects like YGG, Youth Wild Games, some of you probably know. And games as Axie Infinities have users organized in using blockchain technology, organized in this type of groups, in project like YGG. What? It's like a syndicate, basically. So as a user, instead of going, let's go back some years ago. Why team was created by Vitalik Buterin? Because he was not happy with the World of Warcraft, okay? So he was a gamer and not happy with the World of Warcraft. Okay, many players got frustrated. When they get frustrated by themselves alone, they cannot change things. That's why they are becoming part of these huge groups. YGG, I think they have over 100,000 members. And when a game is creating inflation, as a group, they say, okay, now all of us, we should not pay access anymore. We should switch to Sandbox, or we should switch to WAM or to any other alternative, depending on their specific needs and interests. So basically, right now, the players are being represented by themselves. They are voting in a democratic way what the group should do, and they are able to negotiate with the great creators for special deals. Okay, so if we will bring 50,000 users or 100,000 users for the next 6-12 months, what is in for us? Will you keep the inflation rate low? Again, like a syndicate. So this is the solution. This is how they are getting protected. They are not waiting for governments to protect them. Still, governments want to bring taxes on these revenues, but they found a solution themselves in a democratic way using the blockchain technology, and it works. It seems that it works.
Can I jump in? I waved hands when you pointed that well. I don't believe in pay to earn. That's a stupid thing. Pay to earn is literally a banking app with cool graphics. If you come there to make money, the game creators are not creating a fun experience for you. It's just a fun trading experience. It's not about having fun. We don't do that shit. So we're play and earn. Specifically, if you want to actually get something of value out of the time that you spend on the platform, and at the same time you have the opportunity to interact with other players and just have fun like freaking normal people, even in the metaverse. Axie Infinity. We have more users in Axie Infinity. We just won the best metaverse European, the best metaverse app at the European Metaverse Awards. We were on stage with Axie Infinity and Star Atlas, and guess who won? Wham! I don't know why, because I have a beard, I don't know. But the idea is, when you play for profit, you're speculating against other people who play for profit. A lot of the users that Axie Infinity had were actually bots trading NFTs. Games are made for people who want to have fun. So this is one thing I want everybody to remember. We're making pieces of software and graphics, and we grow beards and wear hoodies and come to conferences for other people, not for bots. So the idea is that when we will have the mass adoption of a technology, it will be done by people. Otherwise, we could make scripts, generate wallets, and we would be awesome. And we would have a lot of watch trading, and we would be just, I can name a few.
I also just want to add something to the concept of players just deciding for what the game should look like. So it just comes down to the decentralization, and so we have a lot of DAOs. So in this I guess this year, last year that they came out, and then so their theory is good, but I would disagree that we should just leave it to the players to decide what to do. They have no idea what to do, and then also the other side of things is that it's just even with DAOs. So I love the concept of DAOs. I go on Twitter Spaces with DAOs all the time. I love the people that are doing a lot of great things in there. They reduce a lot of inefficiencies. They create new things. It's a new governance that they're creating, and they can make things happen a lot faster, a lot better. But when it comes to actual studies around what happens inside these, majority of people, first of all, don't participate. And then majority of people don't get to even vote because there's not hierarchy, but there's actually a system by which they can actually participate. So maybe it's a token, whatever that is for them. So the idea works. Like the idea sounds great, but it actually doesn't work. So that's, I would say, I guess that's my opinion when it comes to gaming. These AAA companies, they've done this for so long. They're the ones that actually do research behind the games. They should continue doing that. Not the players, talking about what they really want, because I don't think they know what they want.
Yeah, this is as easy as it sounds. This is actually a very complex question, and we need to scroll back. Yeah.
We just need to fit into the time the moderator is waiting.
Yeah, only because of time. And here's the thing: all these are great advice, insights, and the conversation. But I'm sure we have lots of curiosity, lots of questions. But I'm afraid we don't have much time to do that right on stage now. I'll pass it over now to Joanna.
So I just have one last question before we take questions from the audience, and please fit in 10 seconds, or just raise your hand. Playing games used to be fun, and used to be made only for having fun, but the Filipino government has decided that in-game assets and in-game earnings are being taxed. So please raise your hand who in the audience and in the panel thinks that in-game asset taxation is fair.
Everybody's fingers instead of hands.
3 people. Okay, that was the last question I had. So, should we take audience questions?
I'm afraid no. Again,
No.
if you want to ask a question, you can grab them, have a coffee, and take that further. Only because we have a full program today and we really need to get through it. I'll leave it now for you for the last word.